This week, I want to help you and your kids understand how to start engaging your brains better with classical music. Sometimes we relegate classical music to just background noise, something that we do when we study, but really what it is something that can be very, very powerful for us if we stop and listen to it. But how do we do that? Well, in my first post, I pointed out the idea of listening for repeated musical ideas. Our minds are very skilled at hearing different patterns and trying to find patterns in things. And so when something is restated, it stands out. Research actually has been conducted about our memories, and it's discovered that we need to hear things about 7 times before we actually remember it. Okay, now obviously this is not a hard and fast rule. There are some things that we have to hear way more than 7 times before it becomes part of our memory. Other things we remember pretty quickly. I think we actually can remember music better than speech because it uses a different part of our brain, but I'm not a scientist, so that's just my experience. Now, in this post, I want to introduce you to some music that is actually very easy to hear the repeated sections. The first song is Bach's Violin Concerto in E major. Altogether, there are 5 different sections in this work, and there's a lot of repetition to it too. The form that we call this is called a rondo, and so when music is organized this way, we hear the same section over and over and over again in between other sections that are a little bit different. And so what we do is we use letters to describe this. So we have this form that goes A section, B, and then A section again, and then C, A, D, A, E, and then finally it ends with A. Now, just to help you out, here is what the A section sounds like. Obviously, I'm going to play it on my piano, but it's going to be played with strings when you listen to it in the Spotify recording. Here's how it sounds. Something like that. Okay, so listen for that, and every time it comes in. Now on this one, there's also a little bit of a clue because the way he did this part, it's a violin concerto, so there's a solo violin player, and the soloist is playing this part too, but then the whole orchestra is playing along here too, and so you get the whole orchestra down, and then when the soloist goes and does his soloistic things, then the orchestra kind of gets quiet and just kind of, plays underneath the soloist. So you can tell when everybody is playing versus when just the soloist and a few other people are playing. Now, beyond this one, I want to also include probably the most well-known rondo in the entire world. Do you know what it is? It was in a McDonald's commercial in the 1980s. For Elise, okay? Remember that commercial? Now, the beginning of For Elise is the A theme, and it gets actually repeated 3 times with different sections kind of breaking it up in between. And so I bet you know this one. Okay, and so you're going to listen for that, and every time it repeats, you go, hey, that's the A section. And then, of course, Beethoven, as well as Bach, he contrasts what he just did there. So the B section in For Elise is a very peppy, upbeat, it's a major sounding section. And then the C section is it's like stormy. It's very stormy. It's like goes into C minor or something like that. Anyways, listen for these repeats in these songs because it engages your brain. This is something you can do with your kids pretty easily. And hopefully you too can learn something today about how music always has repeated ideas in it. And I hope you enjoy listening. Be sure to leave some comments and give me some thumbs up here so that we can get this good stuff out to everybody who is interested in helping their kids listen to classical music. Bye-bye.